Hi, I'm Heather from here booktubes, and today is my top 5 books of September. In September, I read 33 books. Out of the 33, I 5-starred 14 of them. However, 8 of the 14 had to do with the Cate Daniels read-along. So most of those were rereads, and I'm not including them. Obviously, Cate Daniels is kind of one of my top reads, period. So highly recommend it if you want an urban fantasy romance series. But that's not going to be the topic of the video. So here are my top 5. All right, I'm gonna start with Dial A for Aunties, which is Aunties Number One by Jessie Sutanto. This is not a romance. It does have a romance in it, but it's more of a straight fiction book. It is rom-com, mystery, family drama, all rolled up into one book. It is over the top and wild. Things continue to escalate throughout the book until it just gets ridiculous, but I was expecting that. I was expecting it not to be focused on the romance. The most romance we get on page is them talking and kissing. That's the, all the focus that the romance gets. But I loved it. And this takes place at a wedding, which everybody knows I could not care less about. And it worked. It worked so well. This follows a Chinese-Indonesian family. The author's note I thought was amazing. I thought it gave a lot of great kind of insight. It talks about how she has the aunts and mother talking in broken English and how she's kind of trying to keep from being a stereotype while also being realistic to her family and their communication. So something that I was not aware of. I think that her family settled in Shanghai might be what she said. I don't remember now. Possibly, yeah. But there was violence, and so a lot of families sent their children away, and then that kind of caused a language barrier inside the family. So in this book, the main character speaks English fluently and then has very broken Mandarin, and I forgot the other language. But there's another language also, and I just completely forgot. And then some of her older relatives speak Mandarin or the other language more fluently, and their English is very broken, but they'll speak English to her a lot because she really struggles. Like, they can't stand how poorly she speaks their language, and so it kind of gives a little bit of a language barrier inside the family. I did not realize that this was a thing. I can see how it would happen, but I was not aware of this particular scenario. And it's just a sacrifice that you make to try and keep your family safe, and it's really sad and sucks. But so in the book, the main character is very big on not disappointing her family, and she's the only one of the kids who haven't moved away, and her aunts and her mom rely on her a lot. They used to all live together in one house. So her mother puts her on a blind date, and her blind date tries to sexually assault her and is driving her to a location where nobody will hear her, and she accidentally kills him. And then they have a wedding the next day, and the body accidentally gets shipped to the resort. One of the owners of the resort is her college boyfriend, who she loved and broke up with, so he wouldn't stay with her, but she couldn't go with him because she didn't want to disappoint her family. So he's there, the dead body's there, the aunts and mom are helpful but not helpful, and things just continue to spiral out of control. There are so many shenanigans, so many things. You got to see a Chinese-Indonesian wedding and some of the cultural things that they include. That was lovely. I just really liked it. I liked it so much. I knew what to expect going into it. I knew not to expect it to be focused on the romance. I knew to expect it to be family focused, and also for it to be over the top mystery rom-com, and I thought it was a delightful combination. I really enjoyed it. I laughed out loud many times reading it and was just thoroughly entertained. Next, let's hit my other book that is not a romance, and that is the 5th season, which is Broken Earth Trilogy Number 1 by Jemisin. This is an adult fantasy, and it follows the end of the world, and the world is having cataclysmic events all the time, And there are origins who can control the earth to a certain extent, but instead of anybody being like, hey, that's awesome, they are treated as less than human, not human. They are treated as slaves and as evil and a danger, and you can do any crime against an origin and it doesn't matter. And they are also sent to schools where they are programmed or they die, basically. Something terrible happens in almost every single chapter. We do open up with the death of a child. There are multiple instances of death of children in the book, and so that is a heavy content warning, and it's just a heavy book overall. Also, you won't know what's going on, which I was prepared for this. I was really told what to expect, and I think that really helped me to enjoy it so much. I'm looking forward to finding out what's happening. In the next book, there definitely were some reveals in this first book, but there are more reveals in each book in the trilogy, and you don't really know all of the things until the end. But I do know that all of the things I just read are important. I just don't have the context for them yet, and I'm very, very interested in finding out all of the things that I have questions about. So we had 3 different POVs. We follow a child who is going to the school for the origins. We follow an adult origin who is pretty powerful and has been told that she's going to have a child for the state. Children are not kept with the parents. They are put in the program right away, and you don't know what happens to your child, and you don't have a choice of who your partner is and all sorts of things. It's forced breeding. So it's her on her journey while she's supposed to fix this thing, but really she's supposed to be breeding. And then we also follow a mother who is on the quest of revenge against her husband who killed their child. Very heavy. I read it 1 chapter at a time, all month long, and honestly think it's brilliant. Next, on a much lighter note, I have Green-Eyed Monster by Elsie Winters. This was a 50-page novella that I absolutely adored. It is a fantasy but modern romance where an orc is at college and he's a nerd and he's a cinnamon roll and he's so cute. I love him. And he is possessive and jealous by nature, and he rescues a tiny elf who is in danger of being crushed, and they kind of have a friendship. They can't tell when each other are flirting with each other. It's so cute. It's so cute. I just absolutely loved it. It literally just makes me smile. I read the other book in the series as well, which is a full length, and adored it. I can't wait till the author comes out with something else. I just loved it. Loved it so much. So much. Highly recommend. It was so cute. So great. Then I have Charge by Cate C. Wells. This is a motorcycle club. It's the first in the Steel Bones Motorcycle Club series, and this follows a biker who is feeling insecure and a single mom. She is a mother because she was raped at a high school party, didn't even realize that she was pregnant until several months into the pregnancy. Her extremely awful, horrible, rich, toxic family then took custody of her son and sent her away, and she fought and got custody of her son back, but lives in fear of her family taking her son away from her again, and she's doing the best she can, and things are just not going well, and she had to move to a cheaper apartment, and that puts her in the apartment next to his dad's house. He and his dad really form a bond with her son right away. He is actually hitting on her as she moves in, and then sees that she has a son and backs off quickly because he doesn't feel like he is good enough, that he has anything to offer a single mom. So I loved the relationship with her son, both between her and with this newfound family through him. He's very protective and possessive and caring, and he wants to provide for her right away, and he doesn't feel like he should, so he kind of gets mad at her and is like, you need to be more careful, people are going to take advantage and all the things. But he's also very much into her. I love Cate C. Wells' writing, really, really enjoying it. You do have to deal with his ex, who is the lawyer for the motorcycle club, and she is not the nicest, but you also don't end up hating her. It was a very interesting way that was written. I feel like you will hate her at one point, but not necessarily at the end, even though she's just like not a nice person. But she will come through for the people that she needs to in the end. It was interesting. But I loved watching him protect her and her make him happy. Like the two of them making each other happy for the first time ever. It's adorable. And then lastly, I have Games We Play, which is One Night Number One by Dana Isley. I read this as a buddy read with Izzy for Happy For Now. That is the only reason why I picked it up, and obviously I ended up loving it. So thank you, Izzy, for forcing me into a good book. This is basically corpse husband fanfiction, and I listened to Corpse Husband while I read it, and highly recommend. It's a kinky novella. There are so many kinks in this book. We have a gamer who has a very deep voice and a mask. Nobody knows his face. And a interviewer comes and they have one night and he gets so possessive at their club, and he introduces her to all of his friends, and there are a bunch of different kinks. There's pet play, there's slapping, there's degradation, there's a lot. There's a lot. If you don't like one thing, you're on to the next kink in a couple of pages. I just really liked him so much. I liked all of his friends. I can't wait for their books. They all have issues, and I just really enjoyed their interactions with her. I kind of loved how he treated her. I would say that the consent in this is not super great because he's like, give me your consent for everything we're going to do. Doesn't tell her what they're going to do, and they don't talk about any limits or anything like that. So, and was there unprotected sex in this? I can't remember, but it worked, okay? It all worked. Now, around the 80% mark, there is a vivid suicide attempt retelling that I felt, doesn't really fit the rest of the book and was maybe not the greatest, but be aware that it does kind of take you out of the story, and obviously it is a content warning. But the rest of it, absolutely adored. Even the things that didn't work for me worked. So it was a really fun time. Highly recommend. Cannot wait till she comes out with another book. Cannot wait. And that's it. Those are the 5 best, favorite, whatever you want to call it, books that I read in September. Let me know your favorite reads of September. I would love to hear from you. I just enjoy hearing about good books. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.